presentation. So I think that the last two presentations, the one of Wafa, the one of Hannah, have been really, really interesting because in a way, we had the possibility to be with fishermen. In a way, fishermen were here with us. And this is exactly, in my opinion, what we really need, because if you look at the Mediterranean policy, the European policy, we are full of good principles, cooperation, co-management, inclusive approach. But this has been already discussed in many times. But the gap now is to bring those principles to the real world. So I think that those cases are really real cases on how to bridge the barriers that separates our world for the world of the fishermen. I will be very quick. This is about fishery knowledge, of course, and well, the fishery knowledge is now increasing attention by scientists, but also by managers, by policemen. But in the past was the opposite. Fishery knowledge was dismissed as anecdotal, being subjective, anecdotal, and of little value. Can I have some water, please, in case? Yes, I need some water. No. Okay. So if you read, for example, what was I took a book from the last century and look how the fishery knowledge was described in a book. That was the perception of the biologists in the past. So they don't have the opportunity for observation, not the necessary ability to record, at any rate to generalize what we see. Unfortunately, fishermen didn't write book on how they perceive scientists. That would be even more interesting. But the change have changed. Thank you very much. Thanks. So fortunately, the things are changed, as you know, but how we can have a look at that, looking at the scientific literature. So if we search the paper containing fishery knowledge, you see that we have this kind of information has been started to be used since the 80s, and now it has an exponential increase. A very similar pattern is provided by what is called the local ecological knowledge, with the difference that this concept, it's a kind of brand new concept. If you see, there were no papers until the year 2000, and then again exponential increase and interest on this approach. Well, I made an effort to provide a status quo of what is being done in the Mediterranean Sea. There are not many papers. There's still not many papers, including fishery knowledge or local ecological knowledge. So we are still a little bit at the beginning of this discipline. But we can see that this approach has been mostly employed to investigate historical trends, distribution, and in some cases also impacts, changes. We usually extract information from fishery, but interesting, also other stakeholders have been involved in this process, like for example, aquaculture, mariculture, and divers, people that spend the most of their time in the natural environment. So I also come from a family of fishermen. So I really felt empathic with Anna and also with Wafa in knowing that fishermen they have the knowledge. The point is that how to translate this knowledge. So, and based on this experience, and based also thanks to the CIESM and the other projects, we have been interviewing fishermen in different countries of the Mediterranean Sea. What is one thing that I wanted to tell you is that in the most of the cases, when you interview a fisherman, the fisherman tells you about dramatical changes that happen in the environment. And this is true, because we are living in a period of rapid changes. Those changes can be observed with our eyes, not with historical times. So those changes are well registered in the memory of fishermen. So those people are basically witnesses of a changing sea. And it's also important to, to show that, to show their faces, because it's a way to communicate. The videos are very powerful tool to communicate. We recently also produced a documentary on fishery knowledge, which is available freely available on YouTube. So very quickly, two study cases. I'm always making this case. The first one is, that species can disappear, stocks can collapse, but other species can appear. So we work on exotic species. So if you look at the literature, we extracted this information from exotic fish species. So we can have a look at how the species are detected. We have different methods, fishery methods, to detect those species, and recently also pictures are used. But the most important question is, who is really detecting exotic species in the Mediterranean? So if you look at the data, in only few cases is the author or a scientific survey to provide this information. In the other cases, this information is not reported, or it's provided by the fisherman. So the fisherman is a knowledge. So the point is that the fishermen are so important for monitoring, for detection, why do not involve them officially? Why do not recognize their importance? And that's more or less what we are trying to do. Now, detection. We tried to improve our probabilities of detect. We tried with two different methods. One is about to ask about target species, and the other one, which is far more effective, is to ask the fisherman about everything he perceived to be different, to be new in the area. This approach, which is it has also some conceptual relevance, is the odd fish concept. It gives you more information. So those new species can be range sponging, rare species. Maybe the fisherman doesn't know that particular species. But also freshwater. We found many freshwater species driven by the rivers into the sea. And at the end, if you see, we put this method together to a port survey done with the traditional methods. The traditional methods were really ineffective in finding new species, whilst the knowledge of fishermen provided us a lot of information. So it's a good way to complement traditional approaches, and also to provide early detection, and of course to raise awareness and participation. So another approach, I always show this picture of Jamila, and it's about reconstructing historical changes. What's happened in the past? In some places of the Mediterranean, we lost our memory. We can forgive what happened in the past, like Dr. Michel Barish was saying, for example, in his presentation yesterday. So we developed protocol. I've been presenting this several times, but I'm still presenting it because the study is still ongoing. So we have the protocol. Now the protocol are supported by videos. We have many tools to support this action, to share this action. So the question was, what species increase in abundance? What species appeared in your fishery area? So we reconstructed the history of the species. You see, we used 5 classes of abundance, and with the help of the fishermen, we reconstructed its historical trend. We transformed this kind of speech. This species was not present in the past. I saw the first time in 2000, then suddenly it started to increase. We transformed this kind of information in data, in real data. And we get the collaboration of many of you or many colleagues from all the Mediterranean Sea. And we put all this information in a single database. That was the beauty of this work. Thanks also to the CIESM and the other projects. So I will confess that we had difficulties because of coordinating this experience, this collaboration, or also by the diversity of fishing gears that can affect the evaluation, and honestly also the quality of data was really variable. But sorry. But, well, at the end, the information that we get was so clear, the changes were so dramatic that we got to provide some very clear results. You see, for example, here, this data can be used at the local level, for example, for single species. Here you will see that this crab, that was from Albania, I think, yes, was not present before. Nobody had seen this crab until 1999, and then suddenly each line corresponds to the perception of one single fisherman. And you see the coherence of the pattern. So this is proof of what happened and its reconstruction. We can use it also merging all the data. We can also provide a more wide picture of what's happened. In this case, for example, we can explore tracing back the geographical spread of a species. This is the spread of Fistularia reconstructed by the interviews with the fishermen. We can also merge all the data in a kind of multivariate data set to explore differences among the different countries, a kind of biogeographical explorations. And okay, I projected this, sorry to have projected this paper. It's not, I don't want to push much on this, but I want to tell you a story. This paper, we collected all those data. We merged, we made some analysis also with the help of some colleagues, and we sent the paper to this beautiful journal, which is Global Change Biology. The journal immediately accepted the paper without any request of changes. I wanted to say that it's now the time, so the science it wants this kind of information. Even if the information is not so, scientific, it's a time to provide this kind of information. And well, the novelty here is that the approach was inclusive, but we merged all the data. So for the first time, this approach has been used at the regional scale. So, of course, this kind of approach is important not only for research, but also for management and for society. So we started to use it at the local level. And also because we need local people, local researchers to work with local fishermen. We need, if you want to work with fishermen from Morocco, we need to speak then to them in Arabic. So we need local people. And this is the same for all the country. But there is a possibility maybe to work also at the regional level through coordination. And if it's possible to work at the regional level, why not to extend it to the cross-regional level, as this is a kind of invitation to our Atlantic colleagues. So I will end this presentation with some practical recommendation. This has been very much discussed during our last CIESM workshop in Paris, but I selected just 3 of recommendations that I think that they are particularly important. The first one is that methodologically, it will be very effective to integrate methods and sociological tools into our activities. Because, I mean, a lot of methodologies have been developed by distant disciplines, like oral history, for example, or participatory epidemiology, and in general social sciences. What I wanted to say is that we have a lot to learn from those disciplines. Another thing is that we should focus not only on knowledge, for example, to extract this information on distribution or trends of species, but it's also very important to investigate the perception of the local community, because perception can change and can be changed, and this is a key option for management and adaptation, especially in coastal system. So if we have an opportunity to manage the problems, is through the social, through the local community. And here you will see how perception can change. In this picture, it's a picture of the fishermen from Lampedusa in the Sicily Strait, and if you see, there are two dolphins here, and fishermen were so proud to have captured two dolphins that were eaten at that time. Now this is something that it's a bit shocking. So perception have changed, but in the short time, in the last 50 years, which is nothing for the marine environment. And the last recommendation is, of course, to cooperate, because we have common problems. The best way is to have a common response. That's it. I want to thank the team, people that collaborated with this project. Thanks.